Hi, my name is Steve Sladaritz. I'm an acting improviser, and it's time to finally have that cup of coffee. Alright, I'm here. I had some bumps last week. I had all of these great intentions to get really rolling on this thing, and then I ran into a roadblock where after I had shot a whole lot of what I thought was going to work, I realized that I just rambled endlessly and I couldn't make anything useful out of it, which is very frustrating for me. I'm falling back today on something that I've used in the past successfully in giving presentations, but I'm also falling back on something that I've done more recently in this series, and that's use cards. But I realized when I did those cards that it was very difficult for anyone but me to read them, so I've got something a little bit stronger now. I am going to use these cards as my cues, and I'm going to try and stay right on track with this thing. When I was in the service, I learned how to do public speaking, and one of the things that they taught us was tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. Because of what we're talking about today, I'm going to use that as my model for today. And I hope that this is going to work out right. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments, please. Don't be shy, please. So the first thing that we're going to do is I am going to tell you what I am going to tell you. That's what this says. What are we going to talk about today? We are talking about the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. And the next question will, of course, be, what is an NDA? Don't worry, there's not too many more of these. It's an agreement. It's an agreement that you sign between you and another party that says that you are going to keep their secrets. You're not going to talk about things that you should not talk about. That's really the short answer. A non-disclosure agreement is an agreement between two parties, that would be yourself and a production company, that says that you are going to get access to information that you promise to protect. That's all it really boils down to. Now what comes after that, if you don't do your part, is where it can start to get messy and complicated and unfortunate for you. And also unfortunate for the production, depending on what kind of information you might have allowed to slip out. What is it for? Now, I like this because what this says right on it is for protection and for security. And what I do is security. Now, my day job, if you will, my survival job, actually is probably the term that we're looking for, is in security. It's in computer security. I've been doing security since I joined the Air Force in 1985. Okay, I better just say it, 1985, because 1980s is already a really long time ago. But ever since then, of course, I've been dealing with security, national security, classified information, all different levels of data that I've had to. When I retired and I got out and started working in the civilian community, I continued to work with government information, but I also work now with corporate information, which is a whole different type of security and a whole different concern. And for different reasons, similar, but not as severe. When you talk about corporate security, what you're talking about is protecting the things that make the corporation successful, that make it work, that make it profitable. And that's what we are protecting at this level. We are protecting corporate information in order to help protect the profitability and the continued operation of the company or companies that we are working for. Why is it important? It's important because it is the protection of corporate knowledge. Something that we don't think about very often in our roles as actors maybe, but there's something out there called industrial espionage. It's a very real thing. The companies that are building all of the best technology that we have in the world have things that they do that nobody else does. And that falls under the list of proprietary information. What that means is this information is unique to that company, and it's one of the reasons why they are successful at what they do, how they make a profit, because they provide something that nobody else can. And the only reason that that works is because they protect that information from everybody knowing what it is. This is proprietary information. This is protection from industrial espionage. I can hear you asking me, what does this have to do with film and television? Absolutely everything, because proprietary information is not just for industrial things that are physical. It's not just how the blender blade is shaped. It's not just what particular chip model was used in this and how are they programming it. It's also what are we doing in the story? What if somebody had the brilliant idea that a movie about robot cats was going to take over the market? You know what? Maybe they're right, and they can see it because they've done the market research and they know that cats are hot and robots are hot and end of the world things are hot. So now robot cats is going to be the thing. We want to be able to produce robot cats from hell, but we want to do it in a way that nobody else knows that it's happening, so that when we release this thing, it stands alone in the field. Nobody else can touch it because we got there first. That's one of the things that we are protecting. We are protecting the company's ability to be unique and original and innovative and to come out with stories and ideas and ways of dealing with things that nobody else is doing until they see us do it, and then they go out to copy it. That's what we're trying to actually protect. The NDA is all about protecting the production, protecting the company, protecting the story and the characters and everything from being leaked out. This prevents anybody from going out and making it before we can finish our project. This also prevents other people who are out there, and believe me, they're out there, who are trying to piece together what's going to happen in the end of a season. They want to know before the season even begins what's going to happen, and they want to know what's going to go on with these characters because they're so invested in it and they're so excited by it that they're looking for every detail of information that they can get. And they're going to take that, and then they're going to make some wild assumptions sometimes, and sometimes they're going to get super close, and sometimes they're going to hit the nail on the head. But what we never want to do is hand them what they need to do to hit the nail on the head. We want to keep that to ourselves. What protects me? What makes me so special in this thing? I have all of this stuff on this document that is protecting the production company and the script writing and the story and the characters and everything else that's going on. But what's protecting me as an individual, as a person, as an actor in this industry? The NDA is protecting you as a person, as an actor, as an individual in this industry, and is protecting you by giving you very clear lines of what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. You know where the line is crossed. You know where the bridge is, and you know that if you go across it, it will likely burn behind you. You know because it's all right there in the non-disclosure agreement. So read it, understand it, follow it, and you will not have anything to worry about. But what happens if you don't? A couple of things can happen if you don't honor a non-disclosure agreement. The first thing is, if you were cast on the project, you will probably be removed from the project. If they can't trust you, then they just will take you out of the equation, and they won't take the risk of allowing you to have exposure to potentially more information that could be leaked out. Once that's happened, they've kicked you off of their set, they're going to go talk to the casting director who put you up, and the casting director is going to be upset because they trusted you and they thought that they could put you forward for this, and then you got cast and it all looked good, and then you proved that you were not reliable at all, and now the casting director looks bad for standing up and saying this could be the person for you. And they're probably not going to ever want to see you in their office again. You may never get to see that casting director for another project. That's unfortunate. If you're in a small market like Albuquerque, where I like to go, there's really not many options, and they know each other. And if you burn that bridge, they're probably going to share that information, and your reliability and your reputation will precede you. Then that makes it difficult for you to get in any casting room. So we've already upset the production, and we've probably burned a bridge with the casting director. Guess where that's going to go next? Your agent. Here's what would happen if I were an agent and somebody did this to me. If I were running an agency and one of my actors went out and violated the non-disclosure agreement, and then casting directors came back to me and said, "What are you doing, Steve? This guy, what he did, this girl, oh, she's driving me crazy. I cannot deal with this. Do not send them back to me." I'm going to look at that and I'm going to say, see, now I need to do something called damage control. I need to demonstrate that in spite of the fact that this person went up and did something that they should not have done, I have control. I have reliable people. There are consequences for your actions. And that's why, unfortunately, I have to let you go. You are my actor, and you violated an NDA, and now I can't have you on my books anymore because I need the casting directors to trust me because I have got hundreds of other people to deal for. And you are getting in the way of all of them. Now you've lost your agent, your relationship with the casting director, and a role. and you really want it, because otherwise you wouldn't have been talking about it to begin with. Yeah, the NDA is really important. So, who? The who is any party that you have to enter this agreement with, who's going to provide you with information that you need to protect, and then your promise to do that. So, what? What it is the NDA. This is what we've been talking about, the non-disclosure agreement, my promise as an actor, as a reliable and dependable person, to protect the information that you're going to share with me. Because I want to be part of your project and I want to see it succeed, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. And if that means I can't tell my family about it, I don't tell my family about it. If that means I don't get to share a selfie of me on the set, I don't share a selfie. When and where are the next two questions. I love these cards, by the way. When and where are really important. The when is probably before you even get a chance to audition. You are not even going to be let in the room until you've signed the non-disclosure agreement, because in order for you to get in the room and audition, you're going to have to see part of that production. Now, sometimes what they do is they write special sides for the really secretive projects that allow them to see an idea of who you are and who you would fit in the character, but not actually be using anything from the program. Now, the where is probably in this modern age of isolation and social distancing and protecting each other and wearing masks when we go out and washing our hands constantly. All of this stuff has become our new normal at this point. So the where is almost certainly going to be right in your house. It's going to show up to you digitally, and then you are either going to sign it on a form online, or you are going to sign it on something that you printed. You're going to scan it and send it back to them. And the last question, why? Why? Why an NDA, Steve? Well, we've been over this, right? We talked about it. And I was going to say, tell you what I told you, but this is what I've kind of been doing at this point. I'm telling you what I told you because the reality is the why of the NDA is to protect the story, the character, the people, the production value, the ability for them to make money off of this production, the ability for them to keep their viewers happy, satisfied, and returning time after time, episode after episode, movie after movie. That only happens when they can preserve the experience. And what we're doing by honoring the NDA is we're doing our small part to preserve that experience. For the viewers, for the customers, for the fans. My last card is wrap it up. The NDA was a pleasant surprise for me. It really was. Last year in 2019, I got to go down and audition for a couple of shows in Albuquerque, and it was very exciting for me. And that was the first time that I had ever had a non-disclosure agreement presented to me in this environment like this. If you're watching this, you're probably just like me. You're just starting out. And maybe you have an agent, maybe you don't. And maybe you haven't been presented with an NDA yet. And maybe this is going to be the year you're going to see one for the first time. Or maybe you just got one and that's why you came to this. So to wrap this up, I would say the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. It's there to protect you and the company, and it's a good thing. So the first time you get the opportunity to sign one, look at it, read it, understand it. If you have any questions about what's on it, ask those questions. Make sure that you don't make a mistake because you didn't understand. Because just like the law, ignorance is really no argument. If you violate the agreement, then you've just burned it, and that's it. So take the best care to protect yourself and to protect the company that you're dealing with, and just do the right thing. Okay, my coffee is not cold yet, but it is almost empty. All I want to say to you now is thank you for stopping by and having a cup of coffee with me while I ramble on about non-disclosure agreements. These kind of things are important to me because I've spent so much of my life responsible for security and doing these things, and personal integrity is something that I think is very important. And I think that all of us should be attentive to it and should take care to make sure that we demonstrate the best of ourselves in everything that we do. So I hope that you guys are right there with me. I really do. I am happy that you are right here with me now listening to this. And once I figure out what I'm going to do for the next episode, I'll let you know. But I will say this. I will see you on Thursday for the next Improv Monologue of the day. Thank you, and have a wonderful week.